Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a better piece of content than that top ranked post. And then I'm going to reach out to every single one of those websites that is linking to that other article and pitch them to link to my content instead. And so like those websites are already linking to like an article on marketing automation. I just want them to swap their link to link to me.
Oh, wow.
And one good approach that I've seen for this is finding like an outdated article. So for example, if we're talking about marketing automation, if you search for like marketing automation tips for 2016 and you write an article on marketing automation tips for 2021, then you reach out to all those sites and say, hey, you're linking to this article that's 4 or 5 years old with outdated information. You should link to my article instead. Real easy to do.
This is another episode of the Automate and Grow podcast. My guest today is Andy Cobasso. He is from Postdoggo, and we were introduced by a mutual acquaintance who's another podcast guest, Jimmy Rose. So thank you, Andy, for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Michael.
So I guess maybe we start off with, what is Postdoggo?
Sure. So Postdoggo is an all-in-one platform for helping with link building, digital PR, and cold outreach. Basically, the concept came about because I previously started, ran, and then eventually sold a digital agency that I had. But one of the challenges that we faced was doing scalable link building for our clients. And you know, if you've ever done like SEO link building outreach to help you get more links and improve your rankings in search, it can be a very labor and time intensive process. So I wanted to see how we could streamline that. And this software that we have does exactly that.
You know, it's interesting. Actually, now that I think about it, I probably have this problem. So I think let's relate it to my experience. You know, we sell B2B. And we deal with companies who typically have either marketing or sales automation, like CRM or marketing automation. And so we're writing articles, right? And I think one of the big things that you're hitting on is that in order to get ranked, you get authority, I think, from external sites, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you're creating content in a very competitive space like CRMs and marketing automation, you know, you're going up against a lot longer term, more established people with higher authority whose content on its own is going to get them ranking automatically. And for your customers, your business, to get their content to rank, you are going to have to do something to get noticed by Google. And links in particular from other websites helps with that. And our software helps find you opportunities, connect with them, and pitch them to get them to link to your content.
So the idea would be for every article that I pitch, is that the idea that I'm using your platform to then connect with other sites that would be relevant?
That's right. So are you familiar with like Skyscraper Technique, for example?
No, maybe I'm definitely not an SEO guy, by the way. So I'm like,
all right,
I always am like, to me, it's a little voodoo sometimes, but I know it's legit. So
sure. So basically how it works, and this is a pretty popular, I think, advanced SEO technique for link building. Basically, you've got this content on this topic, and you see what, like, you can see using tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush or Ubersuggest. You can see who the top ranking posts are, and you can also see who is linking to these articles. So, like, I can see, like, all right, if I write this article on marketing automation tactics or marketing automation data or tools or something like that, I see there's a top ranking post and they have 100 different links linking to them. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a better piece of content than that top ranked post. And then I'm going to reach out to every single one of those websites that is linking to that other article and pitch them to link to my content instead. And so like those websites are already linking to like an article on marketing automation. I just want them to swap their link to link to me.
Oh, wow.
And one good approach that I've seen for this is finding like an outdated article. So for example, if we're talking about marketing automation, if you search for like marketing automation tips for 2016, and you write an article on marketing automation tips for 2021, then you reach out to all those sites and say, hey, you're linking to this article that's 4 or 5 years old with outdated information. You should link to my article instead. Real easy to do. And that's the idea of the Skyscraper technique, basically. And our tool helps streamline that.
Very interesting. So then part of the campaign essentially that I create in your platform allows me to operationalize that, find them, first of all, and then second of all, send those messages out.
Yeah, exactly. And we have like a bunch of different campaign types to find and pitch other websites. So like the Skyscraper campaign is just one example, but like another one might be getting featured in resource pages. So like you've seen like those listicles, like 101 resources for marketing automation or email marketing or something like that. Well, we can find those websites and then get their contact info and then pitch them and say, hey, we've got this new article on tips for marketing automation or whatever. You should add us to your list. And then that gets you a link to a link from another authoritative article to yours.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, that makes a lot of practical sense to me. Usually I get a little spooked by SEO stuff, so this actually seems very actionable.
Yeah.
Are there other features? I know you were mentioning something also about podcasting. I was curious about the tie-in there.
Yeah. So our initial focus was really on like link building for helping you get your content to rank better, but we realized our tool and platform was very powerful for like this whole process of finding relevant websites, getting their contact details, and then pitching them with a streamlined, automated, but relevant, personalized pitch. So we also have campaigns that can help you promote your brand. And like one of them, as an example, is getting you on podcasts. And so we have a podcast campaign type, which can find different podcasts in whatever industry you're in. And then you can grab all of them. And so like if you found 50 different podcasts on the topic of marketing, and there are a lot of podcasts on marketing,
that makes sense,
you can craft a personalized pitch to all of them at once. So it uses a combination of things that you're familiar with, like mail merge, but also we have some magic AI in there also. So you can create one pitch that's relevant to all these websites, but also it's unique to every single recipient, and it'll pitch them. And then if they don't reply to you, it'll follow up, and then you can keep following up and so on. Because one thing that we've seen that was really interesting is that most people aren't going to reply to your cold email on the first time, but having follow-ups dramatically increases the likelihood that you get a reply.
Does the tool also help you craft the actual message, or what's the AI component?
Yeah, so we have templates already built in that you can use and work from. Some people make their own templates. Some people like work off of ours, and some just like build their own from scratch. Like if I'm making a cold pitch for my product I'm connect with a specific type of person in my audience, I'm probably going to want to do something a bit more unique for me and what that pitch is going to be.
Does it also work with lists that I have? Like I think part of it is research, right? Using websites as the foundation. Let's say I for example, have a list of, which I've never used, which is terrible, tech writers, right? Like, and I'm like, well, I'm not a PR person, but someone who is a PR person would be smart enough to go, they would be interested in this podcast or this guest on the podcast or this article, right?
Right. So we have, I guess, two different things that can help with this. So we do have, you can do an import in our platform if you have email addresses, and we will also validate and verify those email addresses to make sure that they're actually going to go to that recipient and they won't bounce. Because if you're sending out, let's say, a couple hundred to a couple thousand emails, and you get a lot of them that bounce, that's going to be potentially problematic for spam and getting you marked as spam. So we take a lot of care to verify the emails, but also if you don't necessarily have the email addresses but you just have like a list of websites, we can grab contacts at each of those websites.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So what was the, how long was it your build, out of curiosity? Like building this type of technology, it's kind of, I realize you come from the agency space, but it's not straightforward, right? Like, was this a long development process for you guys in building the product?
So we had the idea probably, the time has lost all meaning lately.
Sounds like everybody. Like, where am I? And what year? Oh wait, it's 2020. We always know. What are people going to do in 21 when everything's crazy? Can't take.
I don't know. We were working on it probably since the middle to late 2019. Cool. And then we were in beta in January of this year, and just really getting a lot of feedback from agencies and early users. And then we had our public official product hunt launch in May of this year. And we've been just kind of hitting the ground running ever since.
And for people that are watching, Product Hunt is useful for SaaS, for startups, right? To find
and anything tech related, I think Product Hunt is great for. But the thing is, you have to have if you're going to do a Product Hunt launch, I would recommend having a strategy going into it. Okay. Because Product Hunt can be great because it can get a lot of people's eyes on you, and you get a ton of traffic at once. You get a bunch of potential early users, people giving you feedback, and even like beyond that, it was very good for us. It was like we did Product Hunt very well. We ended up being #1 for the day, and then #2 for the week overall. Right. And it was awesome. And so over the week that like we were getting like promotion from Product Hunt, we got over 1,000 signups.
Wow, that's amazing.
Which was really good.
That's great.
And that definitely got us out there. It definitely built us up, and then people started finding us from that. We got a lot of coverage, and also like a lot of random things, like a couple of investors hit us up, and like something that we weren't necessarily ready for, and overall, all good things.
So I don't know the process very well, but do you submit to Product Hunt? Can anybody get on Product Hunt with their product, or?
Yes. So how it works so anyone can submit any product to Product Hunt. You can even submit other products that you find on Product Hunt. But for the most part, how it works is either you or a power user at Product Hunt will submit your product for a specific date, and then it like launches, and then as people like over the day, people will upvote it, and if it's like one of the most upvoted products of the day by the community, then the next day it shows up in the newsletter that goes out to thousands of subscribers, and then if it ends up being one of the top ones for the week, then it shows up in the weekly newsletter for the top ones of the week. But there are definitely like things to do that can like help you better optimize for Product Hunt. Like we spent a lot of time like analyzing just what like the most successful product hunters were doing and what made them and their product stand out. Like for example, like they ask for media assets like a video or screenshots and things like that. And what we did instead, like what we did is like we saw that like just having a product screenshot gives no context, especially if this is someone who has never seen what it is, what you do. So like we would create like a screenshot, but it would be more like looking something like a PowerPoint slide where it would have text next to it explaining what it was. And was easier for like people who had never heard of us to understand. We created like a 50-second like overview video that gave people a gist of how it is that we work. And then like also like a small but not insignificant thing was we had to create a small GIF so that would show up on like the main page when you'd scroll down and you'd see our product listed among other products. If we didn't have like some people just had static images, but a GIF makes you stand out more, and so we had to have a GIF. And we actually like our original GIF got taken down. But we like resubmitted a different GIF. Like the GIF was like a bunch of flashing text, like get more backlinks, build more links, get more traffic kind of thing. And maybe it was the moderators thought, all right, this is too intense, calm down. But like we actually noticed
billboard approach.
Apparently not. But like we even noticed like when we switched off, when they took down our GIF and replaced it with a static image, our upvotes, that it like slowed down a little bit. But once we got the flashy GIF back, we got more and more votes again. So interesting, like little things like that. But overall, like it was great to like it got us in front of this community, and it got us a bunch of our early users who gave us a lot of feedback.
I'll mention one other thing, and I know that you've probably have multiple growth strategies, but the one thing you mentioned I'm always interested in is AppSumo. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you were able to gain quite a few users through that experience and that promotion.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people who have done AppSumo launches, and we did one as well, and it got us a bunch of users. Or like it was a very like thorough process. Their team has a very strict process for what they need. Like you give them a ton of assets. There's a ton of content that they need, and they really put it together. They did a great job with that. And but like they do care very much about like their collection is curated. So like for example, they said like, listen, if you don't have that many founders on your team, you don't have that much experience, and you don't have like the ability to handle a wave of support requests that you're going to get as soon as this launches, which was very, very true.
Makes sense. I didn't think of that. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh my gosh. So it's funny thinking about like when we first launched in AppSumo, and we also did our product hunt launch, because like right away we just got like our live chat and our support tickets were just like crazy. It was like all like my co-founder and I were the ones mainly focusing on this, and so we were just glued to our computers dealing with live chats nonstop. Like our AppSumo launched on a Thursday. I'd say Thursday through Saturday, all day we were on our computers in front of live chat, handling chats and stuff. Yeah,
that's incredible. All right. Well, I do want to be conscious of your time. I'm always very interested in startups like this. Is there anything we haven't touched on you think is important to make sure that people know about? And how do they get in touch with you?
Oh my gosh. I could talk all day about growing a business and scaling and outreach and all that stuff. Like, I was just talking to a friend of mine who has an agency the other day, like about the idea of like, since automate and scale is what we're all about, like being able to automate and like remove yourself from the business. I know
that's the dream.
In
some ways, right?
I will never forgive Tim Ferriss.
Yeah, he created a monster, right?
Yeah, like he made me think like, oh yeah, this is totally like, and no one probably works harder than him or more hours.
Probably
than that
very
guy.
True. I don't think he's working any 4-hour work weeks.
Yeah, seriously, but
maybe now, I don't know.
But like, so for like one thing, like some things that helped like for my agency in particular, and like creating like a service business where I could remove myself. Key to that was processes and documentation, and having basically like checklists for everything and everything written out. I know, like I was talking to my friend the other day, and he's like, this seems kind of crazy. You have a checklist for every single thing you do, and I'm like, absolutely. I want to make it so that someone without any creativity could effectively build a good-looking website, or someone without too much experience in SEO could follow this to-do list and be able to deliver good work for our customers. And like, even if you're like in customer support where there are a million different things people could be asking about, like a ticket comes in, you are going to respond to that ticket within, like, part of your procedure is going to be someone responds to that ticket at the very least, just to say, thank you for reaching out. We're going to work on this and get back to you. But just to have a response within 2 business hours or something like that, and just to deliver on better service there. But I have never like fully was able to realize the automate and remove yourself component from it, but we definitely made good strides to it. And
it sounds like you have the kind of mind and approach to it that makes sense. I mean, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, right? Because even that's work, but I think in the end, it's probably less work than actually doing the work. So,
well, so there's like it's daunting, the idea of, okay, I have to create all these processes and documentation now, because like I literally would create like a 50-page guide on how to do this certain process with pictures and screenshots that I'd take. And like every time like we would get like a new customer, a new client or something like that, we would have like Zapier automations firing off in a million different places so that a certain person on the team would get assigned to handle the onboarding, and there would be an onboarding checklist specifically geared towards that client who had this certain package, and so on. And everything has someone who has accountability to it with a to-do item, and so you can know if we're behind on anything or if the work is actually getting done. And so there's some, like, without having anything to be accountable to, then nothing gets done.
That's great feedback, though. I love your approach to it because it really breaks it down. I like how you try to create a process and then all the assets around that, so that someone without, your quote was, without creativity could have a business.
Yeah, it's tough because we in like having a design agency, there is a lot of creativity to it, but at the same point, there are certain things that are repeatable that you do with every project that you have. So like we install Google Analytics, we install possibly call tracking, we install a certain like set of plugins every time, and there's no reason that they shouldn't be there. There's no reason that you should be missing the form submissions going to the client or something like that, basically. All of that gets documented because, yeah, if it doesn't, then things can slip through the cracks.
I love it. What a great approach. Thank you for that feedback. That's really helpful. Okay, how do people get in touch with you?
Oh, they don't.
Or Postdoggo.
Yeah, okay. So
Postdoggo.
So you can. I personally am pretty easy to find on the internet. My name is Andy Cobasso. My Twitter handle is @Andy Cobasso. My LinkedIn is Andrew Cobasso because I thought it sounded more professional.
Very formal, yeah.
Postdoggo is my company. It's at postaga.com. And we also have a related Facebook group on link building, SEO, and digital marketing called Grow Together SEO.
Love it. That's terrific. All right, we're going to wrap with a few quick questions. First is, if you could recommend only one book in the whole world to people that they read, what would that book be?
I've had this thing where I've been on a few podcasts and they always ask what are you reading now, or what books do you recommend?
Right, yeah.
I have a 16-month-old child, so the books I've been reading lately are Toddler 411.
Toddler 411. That's a great recommendation.
Panda Feelings.
Wait, what? Panda Feelings.
Oh, our daughter loves it.
Okay. Yeah, my kid's turning 22 on Friday, so I'm out of that world.
It's all about how to recognize and express different feelings. So there's that. All right. Well, as for like an actual business book recommendation,
those are still relevant books, by the way. I think people for employees never know.
Yeah, well, and the prequel to Toddler 411 is Baby 411, and that's a great one too.
There you go.
So as far as business books, probably some of the most impactful ones for me were like Influence by Robert Cialdini. That one, like, definitely, like, I'm really into marketing and digital marketing, and that one just really got the gears turning for me in terms of like focusing on things like urgency and scarcity, and just really kind of like mind blown sort of situation for me there. Another one
by Robert Cialdini, right?
Yeah, Robert Cialdini. Yeah.
Cialdini. Cool. You don't have to mention multiple if you don't want to, but
I got one more. So another one that I liked a lot was called Banker to the Poor by Muhammad Yunus. It's more social enterprise focused. So it's basically about this person who ended up winning a Nobel Peace Prize. He started a bank for the unbankable population in Bangladesh. By giving small microloans, and now like microloans have kind of become more popular. But it was a really interesting read, and it was very entrepreneurial focus, but also socially driven, which was really cool.
I love it. Those are both terrific books. I'll have to check both of them out. Yeah. Jim Rohn says, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It doesn't have to be 5, but who do you spend the most time with?
Well, right now,
16-month-old probably.
My 16-month-old, my wife, and my mother and mother-in-law, who help us with childcare.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, but probably my co-founder, who I'm on Slack with and video calls with all the time.
That makes sense.
So shout out to Sam.
Sam, thank you, Sam. All right, how are you changing the world?
I am making cold outreach less spammy and less impersonal. It's definitely like a lofty goal, especially I know on the receiving end how annoying it can be to get one of those emails that's like, hey, name, I would do you need outsourced development, or would you please would you like to buy a DA something link, or would you like a guest post or something like that on some random unrelated topic? So one of the goals in building our platform was to make sure that when you are reaching out to people, you know who you're reaching out to, and there is a win-win for everyone here.
No, I like that. That's a very good mission, actually. And it's a big challenge, I think, for businesses. It's like, in my brain, I'm a very direct person, but that doesn't always come across great on the other side. So if your platform and your approach can help that's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So the final thing is, and you know that you were nominated as a guest to be on Automate and Grow, is when we have interesting people on Automate and Grow, we like you to nominate either experts or entrepreneurs or anyone you think would be a great guest for a future episode of Automate and Grow. So who would you, Andy, like to nominate as a future guest of the podcast?
Oh my gosh. A few people come to mind. A colleague of mine, Larry Port, who runs a company called Rocket Matter, which is a legal technology case management application. Really cool stuff that they're doing. Really great guy. And who else would I nominate? Man. A friend of mine, Ryan, who runs this SaaS startup community. He's awesome.
Oh, and what's Ryan's last name?
Oh my gosh, he's gonna kill me.
Oh, you don't have to worry about it. We'll cut that.
I'm gonna find this right now.
Don't worry about it. Right now, you don't have to worry about it. We can find out later. You can make the introductions, and I'll figure out Ryan's last name, because I'm blanking on half the things myself. So
how do I not know his last name?
You probably do. It's late in the day, so don't worry about it.
Oh, Ryan Wardell, Wardell, and his community is called Startup Sauce.
Startup Sauce. That's amazing. I will join that community. Well, Andy, I really want to thank you for taking the time today. This has been a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Appreciate you being a guest, and feel free to come back anytime.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. This was fun.
This has been another episode of the Automate and Grow podcast. We will see you on a future episode, hopefully with Larry and Ryan. Either they could be together or apart. I don't care. Either way is works. Maybe we need to start doing like more collaborative podcast episodes.
Oh, maybe.
The roundtable edition. All right. Thank you, Andy, and have a great day.